Alright class, today we're going to be learning about bacteria. Bacteria are the simplest kingdom in our classification system. If you look at the top left, it says support bacteria. They're the only culture some people have. Get it? Bacteria culture? Yeah. The top right says, hey son, don't eat so much. We're rods and we're looking like caucus. That means that they are looking circular shaped, but they should be rod shaped. Alright, here's some of the main characteristics of bacteria. Bacteria are prokaryotes. Pro means before, karyote means nucleus. So they do not have a nucleus or membrane-bound organelles. Instead, the DNA is concentrated into a nucleoid region. That's a region throughout the cell. This shows a typical prokaryote cell. In the prokaryote, again, your DNA is in your nucleoid region. You do not have organelles that are membrane-bound, but you do have cell membranes to regulate what comes in and out, and cell walls for a protective barrier. You can also have ribosomes, ribs making proteins, and your liquid cytoplasm. There are many different types of bacteria. Some are unicellular, think a unicycle, one cell. Some are colonial, meaning that they're in bunches, and some are even multicellular. Most bacteria again have a cell wall that helps maintain the shape of the cell and also protects the bacterial cell, prevents it from bursting. Bacteria reproduce in one of two ways. One is through binary fission. That's asexual reproduction, where the cell simply divides into two equal parts. Here I have my DNA copied, just like mitosis. Your cell begins to divide and then splits into two identical haploid cells, meaning half as many chromosomes. Another way that they reproduce is actually just through sexual reproduction or conjugation. That's where the DNA from two different bacteria will combine together, and that's what allows them to exchange genetic information. They could get well adapted to their environments that way. Now, bacteria are in one of two kingdoms. When I was your age, they all classified them in Kingdom Monera, and now that we saw more about their cell walls, we learned more about their structure, we actually classify them into two kingdoms. One is the Archaebacteria, think archaeological, older. These are very extreme phials. They're in extreme places like high salt, hot acidic water. Okay, they have different cell walls than the Eubacteria. Eubacteria are the most common bacteria. Their cell walls are made out of peptidoglycan. Now again, your Eubacteria are considered like your normal bacteria. There are thousands of bacteria types, but in order to classify them, we classify them based on their shape. There are three different types of shape. The bacillus, those are the rod-shaped. Cocci are the spherical-shaped, and then the spirillum are the spiral-shaped. Okay, that's why in the joke in the previous page where I had the bacillus saying you're looking more like the cocci, it's because they're gaining too much weight and they're turning more circular. You have bacteria that get energy in many different ways. They are the chemoautotrophs. They're the typical bacteria that could get, heterotrophic, that eat you or get your energy. But interestingly, they also have photosynthetic eubacteria. Again, these are autotrophic, getting energy, troph automatically, getting it from the sunlight. So they could use oxygen and sunlight to carry on photosynthesis. You call these cyanobacteria. What's interesting is they could actually move in the water too. I'd definitely like to be a type of species that could move around and also get energy from sunlight. But unfortunately, we got to eat other things. We're heterotrophs. Now, what are some adaptations to help bacteria survive? One is from the endospores. They have very thick cell walls that allows them to withstand a lot of other species. Their form in the environment is unfavorable, meaning it's hard for them to survive. They could germinate and give rise to new bacteria cells when conditions are good. A common example is anthrax. Anthrax was the deadly disease that some terrorists are actually trying to use to kill off a lot of humans. It's easy to mass produce because bacteria grow so fast and they can release spores that are very dangerous to stop. Bacteria are also useful for food and medicines. For instance, vinegar, yogurt, cheese, pickles. It could be made in a lot of different products. I actually made some yogurt this year using the bacteria culture in milk. It's also used obviously for antibiotics. Antibiotics only work for bacteria. They do not work for viruses. while viruses actually use vaccines in order to make them stop the virus from spreading. Streptomycin is the main antibiotic that you see that stops strep throat. Alright, so hopefully you learned something about bacteria today. Bacteria, again, are very deadly diseases. It's one of the top forms of death in humans, but they're also useful for positive aspects like probiotics. Eat your yogurt and cheese. It helps your bacteria with digestion in your small and large intestines. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to send a comment down below this link, or you could email me at kaminskyl@hayescisd.net.